to have somebody with expertise in so many different areas, all relative to what we love to talk about: construction, building, housing. Stay tuned for. Welcome back, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show. Again, getting to speak with some experts in the industry. We've got somebody here that, if you missed our first half hour, boy, somebody that really knows what they're talking about. Todd Mayer here, an inspector. He's big in construction. He's got an extensive background in insurance. And boy, when you talk about all the pieces coming together,
Sure.
there's something you need to know to make sure that you've got a nice house that's well maintained, checked and certified. We got the expertise here. So with that, question we didn't get to the first show, we got so involved there, but what do you like most about being a small business owner and how you get to better serve your clients?
It's more personal. I think that's probably the biggest piece, right? When you clock in and work for somebody, the mentality really is like, I'm going to work and I'm getting a paycheck, and as an entrepreneur or as a small business owner, you gotta create your own opportunities most of the time, and but you also get the autonomy to pick your clients and create the opportunity yourself, right? So probably one of my favorite parts is really that I just get to focus on the relationships and opportunities. When you take care of those relationships, seem to come out of that.
Yeah, well, it's so much about business is getting to know people and
Sure.
on a personal level and building those relationships. Sure. I mean, how often it was I look back at a job I either got or I didn't get, and it was, did I know the people that were involved and who were making the decisions,
Sure.
or not?
Sure.
And when you've got that relationship with somebody, they say so much. The golf course, right? That's where we build a lot of our relationships. Some people do. I'm not a big golf guy, but it's getting into the community and,
Sure.
and groups and networking and the Chamber of Commerce. You said you're an active member. Those kinds of things really make a difference.
Yeah. So versus so you have like an organic way of creating opportunity, and then you have the paid marketing that you can do on Facebook and Google and all those things, right? And for me, a couple of years ago, I really dove into our local community chamber and tried to get involved and just focused on service. And through that, I've met a ton of wonderful people that I could probably call friends for life. You know what I mean? And through that, just through reputation, I've gotten a ton of referrals, and I've gotten a lot of opportunities to do some really cool projects, and that is such a better way to produce business and opportunities. So, I mean, ultimately it's always going to come down to the relationship, building those relationships, building trust with people, if you had 3 people or 2 people show up to your house, who are you going to pick? The one you're most comfortable with. Hopefully they both know what they're talking about. But,
right, sure.
But at the end of the day, who are you going to give that deposit check to? Who are you going to, be vulnerable about your project, what you want, what you don't want, and who's going to cause you the most stress, or who's going to make this the easiest experience that you can make. So, I mean, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, like, I can focus on that stuff. I want to focus on that stuff. I'm not worried. We obviously got to pay the bills and all that jazz, but if I take care of those things, the relationship, like, all that other stuff seems to come. So,
well said. Yeah, it's building relationships, integrity, high quality, honesty, all those good things that we talk about. And Todd's making some great points there. Write some of these things down, everybody, because this is how you run a successful business. This is how you get 84 5-star reviews and nothing but 5-star reviews on a couple of businesses you've got going here, and
Sure.
good things that you do within our community to make this work. But tell me, what is often the biggest mistake you see a homeowner make when they're going through this process? There's a lot of mistakes could be made.
Usually, and it's typically the result of inexperience. So, not moving quick enough on something that needs to be addressed, to kind of capture that damage control, right? So something that's neglected for years, like, foundation crack or something like that, like a legitimate, foundation issue, like, oh, we'll deal with it when we sell it, or, I, whatever, we'll deal with it later. And then next thing you know, you have some serious settling issues that, maybe a very simple solution would have resolved this on the front end. But now you're spending, $5,000 or $10,000 on peering. That's kind of like that. That's probably a little bit of an extreme example, but out of sight, out of mind, right? It's like, it's not bothering me right now. I'll deal with it later. Everybody's busy, and I totally understand it. So, or a little water, got, the dishwasher leaked it only leaked for a couple hours. We mopped it up. And then 3 weeks later, like, man, it smells. Something's going on here. What's going on? Yeah. And or man, I really need to check that sump pump. Like, I haven't been down in the basement in like 6 months. I think I've gotten a lot of rain, and then your socks are wet, when you step off the stairs. So, we're all susceptible to life getting busy, and these are just some examples of things that I've walked into in my career,
Yeah, well, I can speak to sump pumps. I mean, I'm on a hill, so why would I need a sump pump? But it rained so heavy one time and just got that little bit and I didn't have a pump because why would you need a pump? Yeah. And so then we went through and had a mop. Lucky we got it. We mopped everything. Had a ServPro buddy of mine come in he used to work for ServPro. He says, here's the stuff you use. But literally, those are the types of things that if you're not on it, and you talk about foundation problems. Yeah, you start a crack that could have been stopped now, and now you're 3 years, 5 years later, much worse than it could have been if you'd have just addressed that.
Yeah, it could be a disaster.
And your foundation problems could be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 problems.
I think sometimes folks, I think today it's less prevalent. Like, people really have the opportunity to do their homework, more so than they used to. Right. So making sure whoever you hire is experienced in whatever piece or part of a project that you want done. But hanging on the lowest price. Okay. I think the old adage of, you get what you pay for. I mean, that's as true today as it's ever been. And, I'm not saying, like, not everybody can afford everything that they want, right? And they need to find, it's a personal decision, right? But finding somebody qualified, doing the homework on whoever it is you're going to hire, and, ultimately, if it's too good to be true, it just might be, but it's, other than that, most of the folks that I'm looking at in today's day and age with all the resources we have, there's not too much you can't learn about somebody,
Yeah, do a quick Google search.
A quick Google search, click of the mouse or whatever.
What's the website, CaseNet, all that stuff. Get pretty serious with that. Yeah. But there's so much out there. That's why you got to keep a good reputation. That's why you got to do the things to improve the community and keep those good reviews. That's what Todd has done a great job with. Also, tell me a little bit more about it. Is there commercial inspectors? I guess there are. You do commercial.
So I stick to what I know, and that's primarily residential. I do get my hands in some light commercial. A lot of times it's like multifamily, like apartment buildings, or maybe a commercial space that was converted into commercial from an old residential building. Like, I don't get into industrial or certain commercial inspections. There's a lot of certifications and training and education that goes into that, and I'm just one person, so I try to stick to what I know best.
Well, we all have our areas of expertise, and so you want to stay focused. But I can tell you're knowledgeable. I bet they bring you in. They say, "Hey, can you help me over there?" You'll tell them, there's certain things that's not my.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that, like, I have a hard time saying no. So a lot of times, if there's an opportunity to be helpful, and I have those resources, then I'll do that. So, and a lot of times that means bringing in colleagues. So, for example, if there's an older commercial building that's got more of an industrial style service, electrical service, and and some commercial HVAC equipment. Usually I'll bring in some of my trusted colleagues, licensed HVAC technician, licensed electrician, licensed plumber, whatever the trade might be, to give you like a really good assessment of the condition, the health of whatever those systems are, right? So, I have gotten myself into that scenario where I've helped some people out there, but for the most part, big commercial, I don't get too much involved in.
On the construction side of the world, residential as well, mostly.
I also do some light commercial. Matter of fact, we've got a couple of office build-outs right now we're doing, where we're adding offices to a large conference room area. So we're involved with the fire department for sprinkler systems, and then all the other MEPs, mechanical, electrical, plumbing pieces. So we do some of that commercial work. That is a different animal. Like we are capable of handling those kinds of projects all day. A lot of times when people are purchasing commercial, they're required to do a particular kind of inspection on that property that requires a lot of background homework and documentation, and that's just something I don't go into. But as far as commercial, I do both commercial and residential. We do both interior, exterior. We love doing outdoor living spaces, composite decks, pool, outdoor living areas, covered hardscapes, landscaping. We do, we can do your average kitchen renovation, your average bathroom renovation, and we also do a lot of higher end kitchen renovations. We just finished up one out in Glencoe. I think our appliance bill, our invoice was 40 grand, over 40 grand. You know what I mean? So we're all over the place, and ultimately, at the end of the day, we're not going to do something we're not qualified to do. And if we can't do it, we're going to have the resources to lead you in the right direction. You know what I mean? But for the most part, we love a challenge, and we've worked it out and done pretty good work so far.
Yeah, like we talked about, the reviews you've obtained are pretty impressive, and just the overall work. And we're going to show off your website here. We're about to take a break, but and get into that a little bit more. But lots of great, reputable work you're doing there. With that, what do you like about the St. Louis city and the market you have here to work in?
So there's a ton of character, right? So, which can be good and bad, right? You get into some of these homes that are 150 years old, and you're just you're in for a long road of kind of repairs and renovations associated with whatever project you want to do, right? But the character and the historic value of a lot of these homes that we go into, that's what makes it fun too, right? And the kind of creations and projects that we can get into to add value to someone's home. Getting into, we do a lot of work in St. Charles County as well, in West County, and man, there's really not one area I guess I like more than the other. It's just the opportunities and the projects that present themselves. It's really cool to put that together, right? You get a customer that has an idea, and they're not quite sure how to execute it. And then all those project management skills start to kick in, that ability to improvise and create opportunity and produce a really cool finished product that somebody can be happy about. And if they want another project done, they're willing to call you back. They want to call you back.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to get repeat business than it is to go out and get new business.
Yeah, but you got to take care of those people. You really got to nurture those relationships and take care of those people.
Well said. Somebody here who's an expert. Obviously, everybody listen in on this one. Stay tuned, though. We've got some fun in the community, getting ready for baseball season here. Lots of fun coming our way. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Guess what? We get to have fun all the time at the Cardinal games. Before the game, we get to hang out with fun super fans. Say hello to my buddy Nino over here, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie. That's right. Everybody's in the video here. Family coming out to the game. Nino, what do you love about going to Cardinal games?
You love baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves baseball. Hey, all right. Scoring points with the Cardinal Cowboy.
Yeah, he plays Miracle League baseball.
Do you really?
And he likes to be on the Cardinals team at home.
Yeah.
Wow, Dino, how many times have you been on that team? How many times have you done that?
A month.
A lot.
That's a good answer. All right. Dad, what's it like coming to the Cardinal games with your son and your wife and all the fun you get to have down here?
Oh, it's the most fun. I mean, we've been coming since Old Bush. Now we've got New Bush Stadium. It's the best baseball town, and it's the most fun. It's fun before the game. The games are always great, and we love it.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time here. We're at Patios, everybody. This is where the most fun is. I get to wear the full outfit here. I got the pants, the socks, the arch, Nino, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie all here, and we're outside Patios having fun. Hey, say hi to Patios. Stop on by here before a Cardinal game, and we'll see you guys soon. Nino, give me some knuckles. There we go. Go Cardinals. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. By now, we are on ABC 5 times a week. So many businesses are loving what we're doing to help them get their name out there. We'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. It takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. A professional video on your website closes more sales by instantly building trust, clearly explaining complex products, and keeping visitors engaged longer, reducing bounce rate by 34%. It'll help you to gain that credibility, increase engagement, simplify complex tasks, lower your sales friction, and boost your rankings on the search engine. So this is all kind of a no-brainer. See how we've now had over 500 interviews and now almost 250 different business owners. Go to bigleagues.com. That's bigleagues.com. Go to bigleagues.com and get signed up. You can schedule right from there. Well, we are always looking for the experts in our community. We've got one here again in our studio. Todd Mayer has got a couple very successful business inspections and construction. We're going to show off both his websites here in a little bit, how you get a hold of him. But tell me, you probably many times you've had a client who was in a tough situation, and you're like, don't worry, we're going to pull you through this. Can you give me an example of somebody that was like, wow, okay, well, we'll take care of you?
So on the construction side, I had I don't know if it was like he couldn't find anybody to help him with the project that he wanted. And the project that he wanted to fulfill was kind of complex given the pieces and parts that were already there. And, he shared that. He's like, I can't find anybody to come out here and look at this. I can't find anybody out here to come help me kind of put this together. And ultimately I sat down at his kitchen table and I said, let's just list everything out. What are you looking to do? And I didn't even know what he wanted at the time. And he's like, I want to turn this space into this Four Seasons conditioned space. It's under my deck. There's no covered patio, no nothing. And it's a 30-year-old deck, and normally people will show up and be like, well, you need to replace your deck. And that's how they approach it. Like, we can't do anything. We can't help you. You need to do so many other things in order to do this one thing. And so I put together this scope of work and an estimate, and it was pretty expensive. And ultimately, he said he couldn't, he couldn't afford to do all of those things. He says, well, let's sit down and prioritize. And ultimately, the guy was going to retire in a couple of months. He had, and a lot of these are luxury problems, of course, right? So,
right.
The hot tub was on order. And anyways, so I put this together for him, and we created this outdoor space that, he was beside himself when he was done. It wasn't horribly complex. It wasn't super, super high end, but we reduced his necessity for maintenance, because he's an older gentleman, and we produced this little area, just his little oasis, so he could enjoy his retirement with him and his wife and his two dogs, and anyways, and it was something that he'd been trying to do. He could say what he wanted, but he couldn't say it the right way until someone actually sat down with him and went through that process, and it was probably one of the my favorite projects that we've done, right? And then, of course, with the home inspection side, I run into this often, right, where the deficiencies can be pretty excessive, and really what people need is a solution. You know what I mean? And if people don't show up with that kind of attitude, it can, start looking again. Kill the deal. Go start looking. Go look at your 200th home. So
It's easy to find problems. Yeah.
Easy to find problems. Hard to find solutions sometimes. So because that's kind of where I've always had to be. Like, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to make this work? How are we going to do all of this with just a little bit of this? And so having those relationships with vendors and it's been super helpful. And I'd like to think that I help close a lot of real estate deals through those relationships, just being able to point people in the right direction and come up with the solution, just so they can, if they can execute it, then they can make the deal work.
Well said. Yes, and it's good to help those in our community. Tell me a time where you've had a challenge that you were like, okay, we learned from that one a little bit.
Well, I can start on the inspection side. When I first started, I carried around a soapy solution in a little squirt bottle for gas leaks. I'd squirt them on the gas pipes, and I remember hanging this squirt bottle with water, and I set it in my bucket, and it dripped on this laminate floor, and the seam swelled up, and it was in the front. Anyways,
oh, wow.
I had damaged this gentleman's floor, and it was super, super minor, but I had to make that right. I had to go back. Like, he called me up and go, hey, is this Todd with Frontline Inspections? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you were at my house last week? I'm like, yeah, sure. What can I do for you? And he's like, well, I think he's a super nice guy. And I was like, okay. And he gave me an opportunity to go out and look at it. I looked at it, and sure enough, I set my bucket there with my tools and whatnot. And so I was very fortunate that I was able to find a match for the floor, and
wow, yeah,
you know what I mean? But that was just like, don't leave, I got rid of that water bottle, right? I don't use that anymore.
Right.
So that was like the first challenge, like just being in somebody's home at their private space and And it's not that I was being disrespectful or anything like that, but being accountable. You know what I mean? So I got really nothing to lose. You know, I've got my integrity that's really, really important to me. And that guy was very gracious with just letting me come in there and make those repairs and not making a big deal about it.
Yeah, well, you're starting a new business. Last thing you need is more expenses.
I mean, this was
and
right
it
at the
takes some time.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of stress managed there.
Yeah.
Well, and then the word gets spread on social media, but then we talk about how is media? How is the world? If you pick up our book, your media is important. Magnetize your media. This is a #1 seller on Amazon. Yours truly wrote the introduction here, the foreword. And they said, Carter, essentially wrote the first chapter, but we knew we'd get something from you that would really help us introduce this book. But how has the media changed? You're on the ball here. You've got the reviews, Facebook pages, websites. How has this changed the way you do business these days?
Well, brand familiarity, like brand recognition, like it is a long play, right? Unless I do something that goes viral, right, or something to that effect. But for the most part, you know, the media is got so many different utilities, right? Social media, you know, Instagram. I can't do them all. There's just no way I'm capable of doing them all. But focusing on the message I want to send out to the world, who I want to be represent, like how do I want to represent myself? Like I will tell you that it is a fast track to doing that. Otherwise, what did we used to have to do, right? And to go knock on doors,
right?
Go, you know, and people still do that. I still do that sometimes, but really, I've gotten. If you go to my website or if you go to my Facebook page or my Instagram page, you'll see I do a lot of these little videos, and it's fun for me, you know, and it gets people like anybody who cares to look at it, which I don't know. You know, I don't know who all those people are, but anybody that cares to know who I am is going to find out real quick by looking at that. So I would say that it hasn't changed my business so much as it's helped. You know, it's made it easier for me to show up and just do my job. You know. Well,
I've gave Brady a little preview there, and it kind of let people introduce you. But it can be fun to interact. People get to know you a little bit. That's why we do these interviews, everybody, because how much money somebody's going to spend. They want to know who they're going to spend a lot of money with. And with that, well, tell me how we got about a minute left here. How does somebody get started with you? I'm going to show off your websites here too, but tell me the process for somebody to hire
as far as inspections are concerned, you can go to my website at frontlinepropertyinspections.net or frontlineinspections.net, sorry. And then there's a submission page where you can request an inspection. You can also call me at 314-337-4744. And you can talk to me directly and we can schedule it and I can answer all your questions. As far as the construction side, you go to my website, frontlinedesignbuild.com, and you can do a form submission there. And you can also reach out to me on Messenger through Facebook. I mean, there's a handful of different ways. You can call that same number, 314-337-4744, and you'll reach me direct. We can talk about your project. You know, regardless of hire, you got questions about, you know, is the idea you have even capable, or are you even capable of doing it? You know, I can help you.
There it is, everybody. An expert. Stay tuned. You're watching the Your Little Castle Show. Get it.